so there's a cold spot standing right here.
No, I'm going to tell you. You're going to tell me if there's a cold spot standing right there. So, you guys can all see me in that picture, correct?
Yeah.
So I'm orange, red, and yellow. That means I'm the hottest thing inside the video. And that's not a pickup line, I'm sorry. My wife really tells me all the time, and you really need to take that line out. Sorry, it's going to give me notifications to go to work, even though this isn't work. Come on, it just pays the bills. Doesn't mean it's work, right? Come on, go away. Anyway, so everything around me should be blue and black, right? So somewhat, it's set up to black, cold, white, hot. So white, yellow, orange, and red, those are our warmest areas. Obviously, different shades of blue and black are our coldest areas. We are literally looking for something black or blue to start moving on its own. So obviously those things that you see around me are going to fluctuate when we take me out of the picture. So that orange, red, and yellow is going to go somewhere else. So obviously we're going to be moving around, things like that. It's not going to be stationary. It will fluctuate and move based on whatever's there. Is this an instant gratification? Absolutely. Do I catch anything on this every single night? No. It's just nice to have it at the ready. But at the same token, when something does happen, it's probably our strongest piece of evidence. So that's the cool thing. It also will glitch in certain areas when there's more activity in those certain areas. So is it an instant gratification? It is when the thing starts to screw up, because it's a very high-tech piece of equipment, and it is, like, it shouldn't screw up. So now that you're out of the game, anybody else, takers? 1, 2, 3, before I choose somebody. Myra's on it. All right, so you are going to hold that horizontal. But she's also very quiet, too. So, what's funny is I used to ask where my skeptic was, and I would always give them the camera so I could hear their comments all night, because it's another piece of audio. Because this guy's full of BS and things like that. I'm like, all right.
I'll make sure to make those comments.
Awesome. Good deal.
Yeah.
So there's a red square just beneath your hand.
Mm-hmm.
That means it's recording.
Okay.
If you hit it by accident, you're a jerk, because that takes me longer to splice. I'm kidding.
That's so mean.
I
No,
know.
I wouldn't. Never.
Accidents happen all the time. Seriously, just let me know.
Okay.
It's not a big deal. Just tap it again, make it a square, and we're good to go.
Will do.
But I have had people like shyly give it back to me and say, oh yeah, it's all one video. I look at it the next day, it's 35 videos.
Oh, no.
That literally takes me hours to do, because I have to try to figure out what order they go in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bad deal.
No pressure, don't hit the button.
See, I have such a big responsibility
You
now.
do.
I'll be focused.
You
All right.
hit that button, you ruin this whole thing
Yeah.
tomorrow.
I'm going home.
Yeah.
We're leaving, Jill.
Okay.
All
What
right.
happened? Did you guys get in a fight with your friend?
Well,
Sounds like it.
I want to know.
Yeah.
What's the tea?
so
kind of.
basically, our friend's kind of in like a abusive-ish relationship with her boyfriend,
Oh,
and
boy.
she's gone completely crazy and is completely brainwashed and manipulated to the point where she can't like think straight or anything. Like nothing is like, yeah. And the cops have been involved like so many times to the point where it's like you can't really like be around her
Yeah.
without
Sure.
something having like.
Did she
to-
come on the trip, or
Yeah,
did
she
she
dumped
stay back?
her name.
Oh no,
No, her-
she stayed in
yeah.
Maine.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you meant like they both came down here and like that.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Spirit boxes. Super exciting stuff here. This is probably going to go to you, so listen up.
Okay.
You wanted something pretty involved. So spirit
I
boxes
didn't
a
say
lot.
that.
You
I
did.
just said I wanted to know my options.
Well, you're also very chatty, so I need
Okay.
somebody like that for this device. So, Myra, how
Yeah,
does that
definitely
work?
not me. I'll
Yeah.
be the cameraman.
This is a way for us to communicate with the dead. We're going to use several different types of spirit boxes tonight. So kind of based on what happens with each one, the answers can go anywhere. So let me explain how these guys work. So this one is going to sweep through FM radio stations at a very quick rate. Kind of like that white noise you hear on Ghost Adventures, and then Zach Bagans tells you the BS that he thinks he heard, and it's some demonic voice that he made up. Yeah, we're going to do this shit in real time. So this guy is slowed down because you guys aren't used to listening to this. So it's a different method. We are listening for like those DJs and song lyrics and commercials. I want to know all those little things that you think you may have heard. And it's a 50-50 shot. I could relate it to the location that we're going to, a person I'm talking about, or something even going on with one of us. So I love this device because it records the entire radio sweep with no outside noise. So we won't know the questions that you're asking.
Okay.
I obviously know the time spans it will spend in certain places, so I'll be able to link things up and see if it actually matches up to the story. And sometimes I learn things from this, and you're going to find out that I'm not a Google for all these locations. There's always extra stuff. It's history. I can't find everything. The cool thing is you don't have to do anything besides control the volume. I'm going to set it up to record, and you guys get the entire recording back tomorrow morning. So, and it records even when it's on mute. So even when it's down, you're still going to have a nice even level volume recording tomorrow morning. So even when I say go ahead and turn that down, it's recording anyway, it's because I can listen to it tomorrow.
Okay. I can do that.
This is one of my favorite devices. Why? Because when I do my investigations, it gets turned on, slide in the pocket,
So you
listen
like
to it.
ask questions and then see
We're going to go
back.
through how that's going to go. There's a volume button at the very top. It's not the actual button, it's the wheel. There's
Can I
a
ask
little...
you a question?
Yes.
So ghosts, does that mean that like they haven't left, they're trapped here and they haven't gone to heaven or hell?
I don't have those answers. That's why I do this. So the more evidence that I capture from each location, and I'll tell you which locations I find more activity in than others, and how I relate that type of activity. So at times I may say, from here, I normally get something on a thermal imaging video. At this location, I've gotten these type of answers from a spirit box, or a specific type of spirit box. Or I may even pull out the millimeter, so depending on how we want to do this. Because I'm trying to think of like which two devices I want to go to next. Yeah, I have a whole bag full of goodies. Like I can technically do 12 people. But
I'm
yeah,
ready to
do I have
sign.
answers like that? I don't.
Do you have an opinion? He said he wouldn't give us his opinion till after.
So, my opinion on, are they hanging out with us? Yeah, I think they are. But do I think that they can kind of transpose and go wherever the hell they want to? Sure do. Just depends on whichever realm they're supposed to go to, heaven, hell, or purgatory, if you believe in those kind of things. Do I think they can kind of come back and forth? Sure. And that's where I capture the activity from. But that's a theory, of course. Let's stick with spirit boxes. Because I think I want to use the two spirit boxes together on their team, because you guys are going to have a little bit more with motion. So I'm going to get into the motion piece here in a second. So yes, another cell phone. So this guy is actually set up with, as soon as he wants to start, a spirit box app that's going to give us a word list. So it's going to give us a word from time to time in the center of the screen, and then it's going to save them all to a list. Obviously the last book didn't have 100, I probably had it running on my desk while I was uploading it, so I'm going to clear them out. I usually get about 55 to 65 terms per 90 to 120 minutes, so it's just the time span we're going to spend together based on the amount of activity. 80% of what comes out of this is bullshit. It doesn't mean a damn thing. I can't lie. My gimmick is honesty, so
So you get the bullshit.
but the other 5 to 20% is where I'm always going to tell you why it's relevant, and then give you a link of where I got my information from. And it's not going to be Wikipedia. Like it's going to be historical societies and Britannica and those kind of places. So 5 to 20% every single night. Sometimes it's more. We never know. So literally all you have to do, watch what words come up, see if they match up with what she has going on with her spirit box, and then from time to time I'll say what's on the list. All you're going to do is hit the little calendar next to it, tell me what we heard in that time frame, and then hit circle back. That's it. 2 spirit boxes in one team. And last but not least, you're going to be kind of the coverall. Okay. So this is a brand new device that I've only had, I'd say probably a month now. It's called a millimeter. So a millimeter does all kinds of things. The main important thing of why I'm teaming it up with you is because she's dealing with temperature, and we need to kind of know what the ambient temperature is around her, which is one of the things that this thing measures. Okay. So the little yellow probe is going to tell us ambient temperature, meaning the temperature around the yellow probe. Okay. So that's going to be your bottom number. Top number is EMF. So EMF is electromagnetic fields. I do have a normal K2 meter like you see on your TV shows. It is a little bit too sensitive based on some of the places we're going, where it's just going to go nuts and we're all going to get excited and it might be a false positive. This guy here, and the top number goes above 0.4 is when I get excited. So that's because it's legitimate. There are 3 different types of electromagnetic fields. The first one's natural, comes from the earth. We don't even notice it, okay? The second one's going to come from electronic devices. So if I were to actually hold this up to a cell phone that's actually on, it would probably go up to about 0.4 to 0.8 in pulses, okay? So I don't want that either. I want this thing to kind of go nuts. If this thing starts hitting whole numbers, I get super excited. The other K2 meter goes up to 25 milligauss. This one, I don't know how high it goes, but I've seen it all the way up to 116. Okay. Very high. Yeah. So, last but not least, it has a motion detection. So what does that mean for you? The antenna. So this guy, I think I just shut off the light. Awesome. So in the event there's something moving by you, there's an EMF field around this antenna. If something gets too close, it's going to set it off. So obviously the closer it goes, the higher those lights are going to go. We don't leave that on all the time because it's super annoying on your audio. Not to mention it drains batteries. So how you turn that on, there's two little white buttons underneath the flap. The one on the right controls the object on the right. The one on the left controls this. We don't care about this. We just want the right one.
There's
So
a voice telling you, hurry.
the clock, right? So I know, lots of explaining. Imagine when I have a group of 10. So, but I actually went into a little bit more because our first location's haunted, but again, it's your novice area. So it's really a place for me to show you different tactics with all of your devices. So it just doesn't have a long history. That's the cool thing about it. So again, when something gets close to the antenna, we're going to use simple terms when we're talking to the spirits. It's black box with red light, black box with metal stick. You know, these people are from colonial times. They don't know our freaking shit. I mean, let's face it. Sorry about the language, but you guys seem to like be pretty hip to it.
Oh, it's fine.
You're fine.
So if you want to leave this flap open, you can, just for ease of use. When I say let's get that millimeter running,
Okay.
you know, it's actually called a REM pod.
Okay.
So it's just built into that. So you have the multi-function tool.
Okay.
It doesn't record anything, but it is awesome when that thing starts going off.
So am I only paying attention to the top number, or does the bottom number?
The bottom number is ambient temperature around the yellow probe.
Okay.
So that little white button on the back just alerts us. Like if you click it in, it will just alert us if there's a temperature drop, like by 5 degrees or more.
Okay.
So, but we can watch it and kind of see. Like what's it say? About 63 degrees now, average?
Yeah, 62.8.
So I'm gonna get excited if we start getting around 57 or lower.
Okay.
And she's starting to see some weird coldness going on with hers. I always need more than one thing to go off at a time. So again, I'm going to be watching her EMF versus your spirit box, because if you hear something and she doesn't have a good EMF going on, I'm going to like, it's kind of sketchy. So, of course, we start here because it's haunted. Box. It just said box. If it says metal stick, I'm going to be highly impressed. Because that just,
You did say black box. You
did it say black box?
did. No, it just says box.
Oh.
It said you said black box. It said citizenship before that.
Oh, I used that word in a story in a little bit.
And then before that it said settlement.
It's interesting because we're really close to that location. All right, so let's talk about this place and why we started here. Okay, this is a place that used to be called Big John's. So Big John was a football player for the 1947 New York Giants. I don't like football, but I had to look into this story because it's very interesting. So he used to sit in the back of the bar. What's it say?
Build.
Back here to let the bartender know when the cadets came over from the Citadel if they were old enough to drink or not. One night, two guys come in, they're not old enough to drink. Big John tells them, get them out of here. So they leave, pretty mad. They come back the next night and they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. There's a big bar fight between John and the two guys. A couple shots were fired and John got shot in the neck. The bullet ricocheted and landed in the wall. He gets up, he goes back to the bar, tells the bartender to get him another beer, get the two guys on the floor, and ambulance. Nobody died in that story. What's haunting the place? Anybody? It's a bullet hole. It landed in the wall. The bullet hole is still here. Allegedly, they are renovating the place. I'll verify that. But at the same token, people that sit in the front of the bar, feel nauseous, queasy, headaches, those kind of things.
Wow.
I bring this up on purpose because it's the only place I've ever had EMF come on. Public. In the event you guys are feeling any of those symptoms, and I don't say this to scare you because it's not a scary tour, I need to know immediately. I don't know how paranormal activity is going to affect any of you. We're going to be hitting places where I get paranormal activity pretty much on a nightly basis with high EMFs at times. So again, headaches, nauseous, queasiness, I need to know. Safe? Feel? Good deal? All right, let's talk about something that's not our own health, and then we'll move on to our first location. So we had a big earthquake here in 1886. You guys see the mantle above your heads? A piece of that broke off in the front of the building. Don't worry, it wasn't this side. In the front of the building, and struck somebody in the head, and apparently that was the first death from that earthquake. Do I have any proof of that? I do not. It's just a great story, so you guys aren't thinking that you're going to get sick on my tour. So, you guys ready to go something?
Yes.
All right, you guys tired of hearing me talk?
No.
Oh, there was a hesitation. Uh-huh. All right, come on, let's go this way.
I don't want to
Am
be
I
the
supposed
first
to
to
have my
say
volume
anything.
on?
Yeah. It says, oh.
Feels so
Oh, my
important.
bag's so much lighter. Thank you.
I have a question about a tool. You know those things that, like, I don't know what they're called, but they're like two metal rods that you hold in your hands and like you ask a question and like it's only yes or no questions.
That's the airport.
Is that like reliable? Okay, that's what I thought.
Is it just like writing those words?
They're not
That's so
reliable for what
weird.
we do here.
Okay.
So, do
Wow.
I know of folks here in South Carolina that use them to find water. Yeah, it works that way. So I know folks that have tried them and they claim that it's the real deal. Notice everybody here has electronics. We're gonna stop here.
Yeah.
This is actually our first stop. I know. She's like, what? Really? No. But you have the name Logan? We could be getting teammates from Big John. It happens all the time. So I'll explain that in a second. So I'll actually look into that and see if that's legit. But as far as, like, notice everybody has electronics. My belief is that they can manipulate electronics in some way, shape, or form. Dowsing rods could be the person. You know, and when you go on those tours, and I think Gettysburg even does a tour where they hand out dowsing rods, and everyone's like, ooh, they're going around. Like, no, I don't need your opinion. I want the data. Like, I want the scientific raw data to tell me what's going on. So, welcome to the Big Red Barn Lot. This is a location where we keep the horses for your carriage rides. The horses are still inside. It's so nice not to have a mask on, by the way. It's so nice.
No, I kind of want to.
Yeah.
We're far enough apart.
Yeah, it's up to you. And again, there are going to be times
Will
where
do.
I'm walking around with you guys, and even when we take there is like after our next location, we walk like 4 blocks because I'm taking you to legitimate haunted locations.
Yeah.
We're going to be passing by restaurants and shit. Like, I'm going to say, let's mask up, just out of common courtesy, if you have them. So, completely up to you though. I will be masked up during that time. So anyway, horses are inside. None of you have lasers. I kept those in the bag. Lasers get Nick in a lot of trouble, so I only pull those out on groups of 10. So, and they definitely don't go to kids. But anyway, the only history I have of this building is that this is the... I can usually say, okay, among the 2 of you, who's the most responsible? And you're like, not me. So anyway, this is the same barn where they held horses that delivered milk to Charleston. So think about that, 1860s to 1920s roughly. So really no history other than what I just told you. Whenever I'm telling you the history of a building, I'm going to emphasize keywords, especially for spirit boxes, so that way you guys know how to ask your questions. Let's talk about spirit boxes, because you guys are going to get some of this data back anyway. This is not TV. This is not, is somebody here, right? Because if they answer no, there's somebody here, you know? They obviously answered you. So if you hear a real estate commercial and they say the word houses, you think you heard the word yes. Yes and no questions are a no-go. Like, they don't get us any specific data. We can all agree that the color of the barn is, it's red, right? I didn't offend anybody by, I've been doing that. Because I'm like, hey, the barn's red. I'm like, I'm colorblind, I think it's blue. I'm like, ah. But anyway, so we can all agree that the barn is red. So we're gonna ask questions here, again, novice level. Tell me what color the barn is. And with you, it's a little bit different. If somebody's here, get close to the metal stick. You know what I mean? Kind of thing.
Okay.
But as far as what you guys are listening for and watching for, are A, the color red, or things that are specifically red, like hearts, fire trucks, fire. I've had the word blood come up here before. So it just depends. Think of your
Bacteria.
Bacteria.
Interesting.
We took off all our masks.
I know.
Bacteria.
Probably me, sorry guys.
But really what we're looking for, you have to think of that thing as kind of Bumblebee from Transformers. Remember, did you watch that movie?
Yes.
Okay, so he used the radio to talk to us. It's the same principle. So if the right word isn't coming through, we're still going to take something that's specifically red. And again, the word red might come through. We don't know. But this is about putting clues together. So if you guys are asking your questions and you're not getting answers after 2 or 3, maybe 4 tries, we're going to try something new. What's inside the barn. Now just open the whole world up to whoever wants to tell us something. Their animals, their horses, their draft horses, that's their breed. Anything related to horses like hay or stable. But we also know that they were delivery horses that delivered milk and eggs. So protein and calcium could be part of those clues that you're hearing. Things like that. That's really what we're going after, especially when you guys are listening to this tomorrow, because you're going to get the recording back and we're going to look for things that you may have missed, which is okay. You're not used to listening to it. This is not the easiest job in the world that she has. So I listen to this
Good
thing.
for horse.
But you're the chatty one. So again, the quiet person's not, they're going to say that they didn't hear anything. But, and that's usually the general consensus on my groups. So I don't hand it to kids that are real shy and meek. I hand it to the loudmouth kid that's going to want to talk all night long. I give him the spirit box. Tell me what he said. Don't tell me why your baseball team's awesome. But again, I'm looking for numbers here. So for not
Wait,
necessarily.
what did you say is a good number with like point what? Because it reached 0.5. I don't know why.
That's good. So the K2, just so you know, the one with all the lights, and I may pull that out and just put it in my bag so everybody kind of has a view on it, so that way I can kind of compare. Because again, it's relatively new for me. It would normally either start going off when we first started walking in here, or it waits until the end. Like, hey, wait, I do have something to say. So again, I may pull that out just to have on the outside of my bag. And again, with just the 4 of us, I don't have to bounce around as much, you know, to let you guys play with these devices. But this is it. Let's take a look at the word list that we've got since we've been here before we break away. Because I do want to go over a little bit more with you.
On stairs, bacteria, socially, high, Logan, above, public, build, box, city.
So I need to look into Logan. All right, so you
Settlement.
Settlement. So again, some of those terms will be relative to the next location, but they're still pretty vague. We got
0.8.
Okay. Again, whole numbers. I'm going to get super strict.
Yeah.
So we're going to go into, and like I said, I may at times be like, hey, let's compare our EMFs and see what's going on here. So, wow. Again, it's just like they're listening to us. So yeah, go play with your spirit boxes. Stay within the confines of the lock. I'm going to work with her for a few minutes on the thermal imaging camera, and then give her a few minutes to kind of play with her device, and then we're going to go on to our next location. Hopefully you hear some things in the next 5 to 7 minutes. So go have fun. All right, thermal imaging. All right, point your camera, come over this way.
Yep.
Straight at the wall for me, and tell me what you see.
Red.
Pretty much bleeds out, right?
Yeah.
So really, watch what happens when I get in the picture.
Oh, wow.
See the wall, how it turned blue now? My skin temperature is going to be the warmest thing out here.
Okay.
Okay, so is anybody else's. I'm literally not the hottest thing out here. But we're going to try to keep a person in view at all times. We have a decent size group here tonight, so we should be able, plus it's Friday, so it's going to be easy to keep somebody in view. I am going to show you a video so that kind of gives you a little bit more of what you're looking for. So you might want to look into this too.
Okay.
So let me pull that up on my phone. Facebook for never saving my page. What do we want here? Is it evidence? So when I have a camera out, everybody gets a file so it doesn't eat up my website. But I also have an evidence folder where I keep all the evidence of stuff that is definitely provable. So this is our next location. Turn this down. The orange that you see in the background, that's a wall. So do you see the 2 living people walking past the wall?
Yes.
How their heads were orange? Now we're going to see 2 black heads walking the opposite way. They're going to come over this way. And notice too that there is a real person right here at all times, black, black.
Whoa.
Oh, wow.
So, had this analyzed. I sat down with some firemen that used that device, and I said, "What the hell is this?" And I was like, "Could it be a car? You know, let's really go by this frame by frame." You can see 2 heads that are next to each other, so it's literally 2 people walking, and then they go past a lamppost and they come back on the other side. They're like, "Nick, if it was a car, it'd be too far away." First off, second, the other person's temperature is in view, so they should have been the same temperature. So you obviously have something legitimate here. So that's literally what you're looking for.
Okay.
Other pieces I haven't cut them out yet because they were from a few weeks ago and I've just been so swamped. But like literally it could be a blue blob. The one piece I need to cut out is like over somebody's shoulder. It's all blue and they're this close. So this is all blue and all of a sudden it just kind of like shifts and then moves off into the distance. It just goes away. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
So again, it could be large and blue, it could be small and black like what I just showed you. You never know what you're gonna get.
Okay.
And here, reason why this is a great practice area for you is because you get to see metal, you get to see the brick, the asphalt, wood, foliage. Just do a quick scan and kind of see like how everything fluctuates. I am going to pull up, I'm going to show you that K2 meter just so you know what it looks like.
Okay.
And so that way you and I can compare, because again, I'd like to still learn more. I can't hand that device off without knowing everything about it. So you're kind of helping me with that learning process.
Okay.
So the K2 meter is...
Oh, whoa. It just jumped to 3.
Oh, nice. So the first light is obviously ground 0, okay? So the next green light, that is like 0.4 on you.
Okay.
And then everything from there jumps up like 10.
Okay.
I'm sorry, not 10, like 5. Because the max on this all the way to red is like 25, and that's it. So obviously mine's going crazy, so it's probably should be right around 15, it looks like, 15 to 20. But this measures all 3 different types that I mentioned. Yours should only mention things that are either man-made or something I can't explain. So it's not going to do anything there.
Okay.
So again, it's an odd, I'm trying to figure out where it's really falling into play. Does it read the parking meters like I wish it would? It doesn't. So how close is it to man-made versus really giving me only the supernatural stuff? That's what I'm trying to figure out. So again, I'm going to keep this in this pocket so it kind of hangs out all night. You can see mine's going nuts. You should see spikes in here by walking around all the way up to probably 5 to 8. That's what I'm guessing. You could probably use your REM pod in here to kind of see if anybody's hanging out. If you want to say if anybody from Big John that played with them, get close to the metal stick. Again, they're from the 1940s. They don't know what a millimeter is.
Yeah.
They should know what an antenna is by now, by that time. But when we start talking about the colonial people, they're not going to have a clue.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would pull out the REM pod, and with that, you want to try to be as slow as possible. You want to, because it's going to detect motion. Go ahead and pull it out. And then turn the click it. You have to click it all the way in.
Okay, it's this one.
All the one on the right. Yeah. You'll feel it click. There you go. We always test it to make sure it's up and running. But if you're going to use any kind of like vocalization, you have to remember you have to demonstrate. So if somebody from Big John is here, I need you to get close to this metal stick and make those lights go off.
Okay.
Now, I just asked that, so we're going to wait a second and see what happens. What I want you to do, I want you to kind of wiggle that thing a little bit.
Right now?
Yep. I want him to see if there's any kind of motion that's going to come out of you. You seem like you're a pretty stable, calm person.
Mm-hmm.
So even like what I would do to test it, just to make sure it's not me, I would literally shake it.
Okay.
I don't see anything breaking at it. Because I have this set up as it's really close.
Yeah.
I can make it bigger, and that's going to make it go off more. In the event it's going nuts and you can't get it to stop going nuts, there's a reset button right down here at the bottom. There's 4 buttons. It's the very bottom one. You just click it again, and it should reset it back to 0.
Okay.
That's me and my hand.
Yeah.
So, walk around, learn a different type of surfaces and whatnot, see what you can get out of there, and I'm going to follow up with them to see if they're hearing anything, and then we're going to go learn some real history.
Okay, and you said to keep someone in the frame.
Yeah, try to.
Okay,
You know,
sure.
it doesn't always have to be, you know, there, but,
Yeah.
you know, you don't have to focus on somebody like this close, but if somebody's off
Why
in the
not?
distance.
I'm just kidding.
Because you guys are probably, I mean, we're a small knit group. We're not
Yeah.
going to be separated a whole lot.
Okay.
Okay, wait, it's like all over here. Okay. If someone from Big John is here, come to the metal stick.
Ask again.
If there's someone from Big John's here, come to the metal stick. I said to go slow. It's all over here. Like right here. It's right down there.
Do you want to maybe try over here?
Yeah. Nope.
Jill, ask again.
If there's anyone from Big John's restaurant, come to the metal stick.
I'm gonna go from a different angle. Do you want to maybe go that way? And we can see. Like more over there. We haven't been over there yet.
Are you getting something?
Huh?
Are you getting
I'm just kind of checking like the area around. It's weird because like some of the walls are picking up like heat and then others like aren't. I don't know.
If someone from Big John's restaurant is here, come to the metal stick. Oh. Is there anything right around me right now? It's weird.
Sure.
It just jumped up to like 3.4.
Ask again.
If anyone from Big John's restaurant is here, come to the metal stick.
Yeah.
How about you? Are you getting anything crazy?
It, like, I think there's, like, here, because it keeps jumping up to, like, 5 and then, like, 3.4. Yeah, that's gonna happen. It went from, like, 3.4 to 9.
And there's nothing in my bag. Everything's shut off. So there's nothing inside that should be making me go off. My cell phone's right here. So for this guy, just so you know, it would actually, if it was at a dead spot, if I close now, it's going to be find a dead spot. I got nothing. I'm nuts. I was going to show you, like, if I were to put this up here, it would make it dance. Like, it would put him into a rhythm. So it would be a boom, 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 like real steady. But with it doing what it's doing now, it likes this lot. So I still consider that somewhat of a rhythm, just because it's staying on yellow and it's flickering, but now I'm getting reds. So again, what is it? Yeah, is it something actual paranormal? Anything going on with the REM pod? The metal state? So no motion there. At times I may say, if you're still not getting anything, I'll say let's make it a little bit bigger. But the bigger you make it, the worse it is. So, all right, let's go learn some real history, because they got some pretty cool stuff on the spirit box. You ready?
Yeah.
Should I turn this, or put the thing down?
Yeah, because I'm going to be talking for the next 5 minutes or so.
Wait, I did something.
What? Probably ask him.
It's like perfect weather. Like now that I'm moving, I'm like, yeah, I'm good.
I did something, I don't know what I did. I moved the decimal point over 1. I don't know.
Yeah, no big deal.
Wow, it wasn't me who messed up this.
Yeah, you just changed the units.
Oh.
So there's 2 different ways to read that. It's either units of Tesla or milligauss. We are
okay.
in the United States. We're dumb. We use milligauss instead of
Okay.
units of Tesla.
Okay.
Brits use units of Tesla.
I don't know if I like saw something earlier, but like it looked like there was something blue like following them.
Then?
It might have been her backpack. I don't know, but like it looked.
Well, it would be like, was it black or was it blue?
It was bluish. But he said like it could be either, so I don't know. See, I guess.
All right, so we're bringing you over by the dumpster. There's the only clear spot of the lot. And yeah, I take you to all. Let's try to turn that down. Yeah, I bring you to all the great sightseeing spots in Charleston. But again, this is a place that once was. So where the hell are we? Did your EMF do anything on the way in? This is usually a pretty hot spot. I did bring out the K2, so it's on the front of my bag, so she and I can kind of compare. Keep in mind too, when we're in here, because we're going to spend a good 10 minutes in here or so, if not longer, depending on the activity. That's the only in and out. We don't want to create any ghosts tonight, so just be careful. So somebody got my joke. Good. So normally I have.
Yes.
So like I said, I have those lasers, and both lasers go to the same person, so I know where they are, and I'm not like looking at a light show. And I say, don't cross the streams. Nobody gets the joke. Does anybody here have it?
Don't cross the streams.
Yeah.
Like,
No? Ghostbusters. Never seen Ghostbusters? Come on.
I
guys are
watched it
probably
a
way
while
younger
a
than
ago.
long time ago.
No, I've seen it, but it's been a long time. You're old enough.
We won't get into ages, unless you guys really want to get into ages.
Ghostbuster replica car and drive around Suffolk County.
Yeah, we have one. There's one in Myrtle Beach too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So where the hell are we? We are at the Charles and Eliza Pinckney Mansion site. So we met at the corner of Pinckney and East Bay Street. Pinckney is obviously a very prominent name here in Charleston. So who the hell were they? Had a son named Charles, so there's Charles number 2. The husband was also named Charles, and they had a nephew named Charles. The son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution. Big deal for Charleston. I hate politics. We just got out of an election year. Let's move on. So Eliza. This is a place too where I'm not going to give you questions like what color is George Washington play a horse kind of thing. It's going to be, you guys are going to come up with the answers on your own. So if you guys want to actually work all 4 together, that's perfectly fine too. So you guys can kind of hear what the spirit boxes are doing. That's perfectly good because you guys should be paying attention where the high EMFs are to know where to stop and ask these questions. Eliza married Charles at a young age. I'm not going to give you what that number is. Hopefully we can find out. But she married him because her father thought he was dying over in England and he wanted all his kids home. She didn't want to go, so she got married. It didn't get her citizenship, but it did say, hey Dad, I'm staying here. This was mid-colonial times, 1700s, so there's no such thing as citizenship yet. That's why marriage didn't give her her green card, so to speak. But she just said, I don't want to go. So Dad got better, she was right. He started sending over wedding gifts. So let me give you the layout of the land real quick. The mansion was in the front. We are standing literally where Eliza's garden was, and it went all the way across. And then the slave and servant quarters were in the back here. Okay, so if you're going to go back there with spirit boxes, just know I can't prove anything because there's no records. So there's not enough records for me to be able to say, okay, that was Johnny. I can't do it. So, but anyway, those gifts that he started sending over, one of them happened to be the plant indigo. You guys have been driving around here for at least a day or so. You've probably seen that word and didn't even realize it. Indigo is a pretty big deal for us here in Charleston because our rice plantations went downhill and we needed another cash crop to be able to boost up Charleston again and save the colonies. Remember, this is 1750s. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. Some of you are wearing it right now. That's how we still use it. So some companies still use it that way. But again, this is a huge deal. It started here as an experiment. She had to learn from her servants who were from the Vela culture how to keep it cultivated in obviously our weird temperatures. Sometimes it's really hot, sometimes it gets a little cold. So she wanted to keep it going year round. She figured it out. She moved it over to Snee Farm, which is in Mount Pleasant, about 20 minutes drive from here. So it's probably a good 2-hour carriage ride for her, if not longer, to be able to go back and forth to the farm. She called Dad and said, give me some contacts. By the way, no telephones, that's a misnomer. Just those of you paying attention. She said, hey, I need some contacts. I want to sell this stuff overseas. We could get a pretty good price on this crop. Lo and behold, she's a businesswoman in the 1700s, where there's no such thing as a businesswoman. So, huge deal. I'm only touching the iceberg of the things that she's done for our country, but you're going to learn as we kind of go through some of these odd facts about Eliza that she was pretty cool in her own right. Questions. We're going to go through anything you want to about her death. How old she was, what did she die from, where is she buried, and which U.S. president was a pallbearer at her funeral. So, if you want to make guesses, say, hey, and I'm just going to use this as an example, obviously I'm wrong, is Joe Biden the pallbearer? If so, touch the metal stick, so forth and so on. You want to make guesses, you can do that. You can still use it as a question and answer session. But for you guys, hopefully you guys get a correct answer. Let's see, you can ask what happened to the mansion. Obviously it's not here anymore. Eliza was the second wife named Eliza from Charles, back to back. Yeah. I just say how bad Chuck screwed that one up. I would never do that. Both my wives, they had different names. So, both of them went by their maiden name. So you can find out what the maiden names were, and that way we can pinpoint which Eliza we're actually talking to. Both of them start with the letter L. Kind of like Logan. That's not the right answer. So, I told you can ask what happened to the mansion. If you're going to ask about her children, be very cautious. Stick to very simple things like how many kids did you have, how many boys, how many girls. Specific numbers don't lie. There's a tragedy among them. You start poking around too much, all activity for the rest of the night will stop. It's like she dictates the whole damn town. So I've seen it happen. Yeah. This is also a place I want you to focus if you're going to ask your own questions and kind of go that route. I can't prove feelings. You know, did Charles cheat on you? I don't know those things. How did you feel about that? Happy or sad? You know, I can't prove that stuff. I need numbers, I need data, I need kids' names, I need those kind of things. Stuff I can prove and show you, you have legitimate collected evidence. So, you're going to have some fun in here, you're going to spread out. I would normally say this is where I take a break from the mask, but I'm going to chill and smoke for a minute and see if anybody emailed me about tours for tomorrow, and then I'm going to start bouncing around with all of you guys. I'm a vapor, so if that bothers anybody, I'm sorry, but I will not be vaping near any of you. You're like, yeah, whatever, this guy's really weird. So, I'm not just a typical tour guide. I told you guys that from the beginning. So, have some fun in here. Be mindful of the cars. Again, we're going to be looking for a lot of things, and we're probably going to get a lot of answers. I like not flunking. So normally you guys see the big bright light? There's usually another light like right next to it on the corner of the back half of the building that sometimes will blink. Obviously it's not blinking right now, but in retrospect, this EMF meter will go in sync with whatever that blinking light is doing. I've tested it by video. It's usually within 2 frames. I'll get a pulse here, and I get the pulse there. It just depends on how quickly it is again, it changes every night. It's kind of my barometer of how much activity we're going to get. My EMF meter is going crazy in the yellowish area. Have you gotten anything since we've been standing here?
The temperature keeps fluctuating, but other than that, no.
Hotter or colder?
Colder.
Okay. Have you gotten anything on yours before? Well, remember, she was a gardener. Anything dealing with gardening, so soil, dirt, shovel, fall, like that.
Worldwide.
She sold it worldwide.
Yeah.
So, very cool.
It was on while you were saying that.
Nice. Good deal. My EMF just stopped, so you guys need to spread out, have some fun. People get weird about cameras in their cars, so if somebody comes up to their car like they're leaving, you're not filming them, you're just chilling with a cell phone.
Okay, alright.
I don't need to be scream dancing, right?
Yeah.
So,
Public place.
it doesn't matter. So, I will tell you that if I was a car thief, that would be my number one tool. She'll tell you how long these cars have been here based on their heat temperature.
Oh, yeah.
So if the cars have been here for a little while, I'm going to look for the one that's right in the middle because it wasn't here as long and somebody might not be coming back as quick, so I can break into it today. But these guys don't know that. They're not that clever. We are. So, but we're looking for ghosts. So
when I ask a question,
Yes.
should I be like specific, like give a certain event, like is the mansion not here because of such and such, like, you know, like did this happen?
I would with that specific device, and that's
Okay.
what I've done with this one in the past, and I've gotten answers that way.
Okay.
But yeah, I would be as specific as possible. Think of every possible thing that could happen to a mansion, and just
Okay.
start asking questions. Did it get flooded out? Did somebody tear it down? Did you guys sell it and somebody else bought it? You know, whatever you want to ask.
Okay.
So I know the answer. I'm not giving it to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, those would be very specific things. You can even ask about the kids. You know, that would be a
Okay.
thing too. And you can ask as far as how big the. Oh, you don't have it on.
Oh, should I?
Yeah, you can now that the story's over.
Okay.
But with her specific device, keep in mind the EMF that's coming off of the antenna, I can make it bigger. So that way the lights, it's a little bit more sensitive that way. But I always try to test to see how mobile the person that's using it is, because if they're too mobile and they're very edgy like me, it's going to go off with every little movement. So she's very calm and collected, as you guys can all see, right? Myra will agree to that. So I may expand her EMF on the antenna just so she starts to see a little bit of something. So with that, you guys can go ahead and take your spirit boxes up. Go ahead and get started. The second button up. So on the side where your fingers are,
Yeah.
reach for that second button and click it. So you can see it just went up to 2. Click it again. Let's get you up to 3. Let's try it there. So again, it's going to be a little bit, see how sensitive it is now? If you want to, you can keep clicking it until you get those lights back down to 2 and test it if it's going too crazy. But again, if something's going to come here and it's going to go a little nuts for you, that's where you hit that bottom button and kind of balance it out.
Okay.
But you got this. You're on the right mindset. But you see, you just moved and it went off.
Yeah.
So you guys need to kind of find out like where your EMF is getting hot. That's why this device is so cool.
So if it gets cold, is that what I'm looking for?
If it gets cold at the bottom and starts to go like 55, like where you at now? 62, which was, we said about 63 over there at Big John's. So I would say if you start going below 60, you guys definitely need to stay put. She needs to start filming. But if your EMF, the bigger numbers, go above, like get into the whole digits, you should stop and start asking questions.
Okay.
That's what I would do.
Okay. Okay.
Where's it at now?
Or was that 2? Was that like 3.8?
So again, they've never done an archaeological dig here. They're going to be putting a commercial hotel here and not do a dig. So there's no electrical lines below us. There's no reason why my K2 should be going off.
Yeah.
You can ask questions here if you want. So what do you want to know? You mentioned the mansion. Was that something you specifically wanted to know?
Yeah.
Okay.
So do I just say like,
Think of a tragedy.
okay, did the mansion burn down because of a fire? So I say touch the metal or contaminated metal
Yeah.
stick?
Yep, that's it. Again, I know it's weird when there's nobody sitting in front of you.
Yeah.
When you're directing, you know, a question at something you
Yeah.
can't see. That's why I like for you guys to venture off. That's when you guys get comfortable.
Okay.
But yeah, hey Eliza, touch this metal stick just like that if the fire burned down, or if the mansion burned down. All you gotta do is get close to it and make the lights go off. You not having to listen for anything, you can just keep talking.
Okay.
That's the great thing. When I go to St. Augustine for that investigation, like that thing's just gonna be on. I'm probably gonna have my wife hear it because I'm gonna be carrying so many other, like,
Yeah.
that's your box and the thermal's going to be on my chest and kind of thing. I'm allowed to bring any equipment I want. What I'll do with that is I'll probably set it up on one of the stairs in the lighthouse and just videotape it for like 30 minutes just to see if anything comes in. Because I know there's no motion
Yeah.
at that point. If I set it down, that's what this little stage is for in the back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do I have to say like, hey Eliza?
I would direct it at her if
Okay.
you want to.
Okay.
Or you can say if Eliza's here or anybody else that wants to tell me what happened to the mansion, did it burn down? If so, touch the metal stakes.
Okay.
You got this.
Okay.
Go wander around, because obviously she's a little uncomfy.
Okay.
The teacher's around.
Will do.
Claire, need anything?
Here that you got, again, remember, some of those things could be, yeah, so the 15 might not mean anything, or the
Hey, chill. Weren't you not supposed to like talk about that?
Oh. Hey, Eliza, touch the metal stick if you have 3 kids.
What are you seeing? Anything goofy?
Not at the moment.
Again, it's not the most exciting tool, but when we have it, it's like, holy shit, there it is.
Yeah.
And the video I showed you actually occurred right up there in that corner. You probably recognize the lamppost.
Yeah,
where they-
I did see that.
So-
I mean, like, I don't know if it was her backpack. It probably could have been, but it looked like there was something blue, like.
So
near them.
backpacks, because especially if it was, her backpack is
Yeah.
pretty big, so it's going to be away from her skin.
Yeah.
So you probably had something of her skin or somebody else's in the picture
what
as
I was
well. So
thinking.
it's going to vary based on what the warmest thing is.
Yeah.
So each color you're seeing is a 5-degree variant from the next one. So white is obviously going to be probably, I think it's 40 to 50 degrees colder or warmer than whatever the black spot is. So if there's a black spot and a white spot, they're like 40 to 50 degrees apart. And then they go 5 degrees towards the middle.
Okay. Yeah.
So again, that's how it kind of works, and that's the variant that you're going to see between each one.
Okay.
So backpack is probably going to be about 15 to 20 degrees cooler than our skin temperature.
Okay.
So, but yeah, you're right
All
to look at
that's
that
what
for sure.
was. Yeah. I was pretty sure that's what it was, but I was like,
Yeah,
maybe.
you never know.
Yeah.
Not until you ask them until we review it.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
stop
true.
recording the review. I never do that.
Was the house sold?
No,
That's weird.
to my knowledge, it was still in the family. They flooded it.
I asked her to hire first, and then I
Well, May is
And
her
then
birthday.
she said, just don't. Yeah. We heard May and then we heard her. Well, we didn't hear May. We heard 5 twice and then we heard her. She said, is it May? Is it May? She said, it said, just don't. Yeah. There's something else.
So we're going to take it.
Yeah, we heard 5 twice.
5.
We heard 5 and they were like, 5 May. And then we asked. That's when we got just don't. But then when we were walking around, we heard 5 again.
Where did it first go?
I then randomly heard first.
And that's what from.
No. President. Which president? In who's in Charleston? Who's that? Canada?
Yeah, her. So he carried hers in 3rd grade. And you already have the answer. First.
Ah.
So, I found the answer from May.
Hey, Eliza, touch the metal stick and make the light turn blue if you had 4 kids. and it got toxic. Yellow. And then I asked if she wanted to put his name Logan, and it went to green. It's like in this area. I asked one thing, and I don't know if it was the wrong thing to ask. I asked if one could because when I asked the fourth question, they asked me. I just was turning it off.
Oh.
Every single day, America is listening. Enemies. Peasant, believe him. Council, technological, estimate, pungent.
So a lot of those terms are pretty vague. You know, obviously we're using technology that she doesn't recognize, and she's not not going to be able to specific, call these things out by name. We did get a specific answer of, was one of your children die, and was he male? And it went to purple, which is pretty high on the REM pod. I told you already that it was a boy. His name was George, and that was June of 1747. So it was not May. They heard the month of May, which would have been Eliza Pinckney's death month. So that would have been 1793. So they also got the number first. We want to call that a number. That's the answer to which U.S. president was a pallbearer at her funeral. It was the first president, obviously George Washington. So I'm going to be listening for obviously other things like wood and apple, like what we talked about. So I get that term here a lot, especially when she went to start her bragging about George Washington. The mansion did burn down in 1861. To my knowledge, that house was still in the family. So you asked if it was sold, and it said it went a little crazy. So now I'm kind of second guessing my first source, and now I'm going to dive into it a little bit more to see if the house was actually sold to somebody else. The articles I've read all say that it was still in the family, so maybe it was sold to somebody else in the family. Maybe we'll look at it that way. Nothing crazy on the camera, right?
Not that I saw.
She thought your backpack was a ghost.
Well, I was pretty sure. I was like, I don't know.
I have a water bottle in there, so that could be.
Oh, it's off your body.
Oh.
Yeah,
So
that's what it
It's definitely
was.
colder than your skin by about 20 degrees or more. So the other questions, Eliza died at the age of 70 in Philadelphia from breast cancer that we know of, because we're going off her medical records. Again, 1793, we don't know what the hell breast cancer is. So cancer comes up here quite a bit. And she's also buried in Philadelphia. So for those of you wondering why we don't visit cemeteries on a Stories in a Cemetery tour, if you were buried and dead, you're probably not going to hang out at your grave. So you're probably going to go to places that you love, which is where we're going, to all of these weird locations. Not to mention she's in Philadelphia and comes all the way down here to give you some answers. Do I feel like we actually have some things coming out of the spirit boxes? I do. And I'll be honest, Luke, when I have a lame, like, all right, there's nothing happening, we need to move on, you'll hear me say there's nothing happening. I'm not getting much here. And I'm looking at your data. So yours is very unique, just because I'm still like, wow, that was a lot that came out of it, especially when you started asking about the kids.
Yeah.
And then when she asked when one of them died, it went nuts. So that's when you guys probably got the just don't, or so sad, relatively time period of all of that. So that's why I'm here. I'm here to put all the clues together for you guys, so you guys see the connections. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, Eliza Lamb Pinckney was the first wife, and then Eliza Lucas Pinckney was the one who planted all of the indigo. So I also listened for Lucas and Lamb. So even the child that died, he went by George Lucas Pinckney. So just because, the way times were. The husband, by the way, Charles, he was a politician. So he was a Republican. The word Republican will show up here. His birth and death month are the same, so that's October. So a lot of times it will show up here twice. So I'll hear the month October either come up on one spirit box and then I'll hear it somewhere else. So it's not always the same spirit box. But again, a lot of weird things come up with him too. So he was a Jeffersonian Republican. So I get the word Jefferson here a lot too. Where we're going next is going to be where I said we're going to walk up about 4 blocks. I'm going to be masked up. You guys do whatever you will. We're going to be going to Lodge Alley. So Lodge Alley is a quiet area, so listen to your spirit boxes along the way there. But once we get inside, we're going to definitely cut them down because it's next to a hotel. It is cobblestones. Everybody got good shoes on? Good, because it is very uneven. Listen for names on your spirit boxes. Watch for names on your spirit boxes. I keep forgetting there's only one noisy one. But I'm going to explain why. I'm not going to tell you what names they are, but I'll explain why when we get there and what that place actually is. We have a lot of alleys in Charleston. This one just happens to be along the way of the places I like to go to. And I used to tell the stories of when I was working with a psychic there about a year ago. I know I'm boring, lots of yawning. But I get a lot of activity. I'm sure you guys are, I tease because I know you guys have been out walking all day long, and then I'm dragging you all over town.
Been up since 3.
Yeah, we've been up since like 4.
Yeah.
I actually took a nap today. I had to take one of the dogs back to the bed again. So my wife she hates this season because I'm at home and I get to nap and I'll take a writing break. Let's watch some TV. So she'll text me, "What are you doing?" She's like, "I can see you on the damn camera." I'm like, "Then why'd you ask me what the hell I'm doing?" But at any rate, this is a very interesting place where we're going to. We'll have a quick legends and lore, like 10 to 15 minutes, where you guys will actually get to chill on a bench for a few, kind of show you some of the weird hot spots in that corner, and then we're going to do a big final investigation on a kick-ass female pirate. So all females here, I'm the stud tonight, right? So I'm going to talk about kick-ass females that were pirates. So we're going to get into that. You're in Charleston. So, and what's weird is there's certain places I'm not allowed to go anymore. So the pirate story is relatively new. I've only been doing it since November, and I've been getting a shit ton of evidence from there. I didn't even believe the story before I started going there on a nightly basis. But we're getting more and more out of that area, and the thermal camera comes in real handy at that location. So let's take a walk. You guys good?
Okay.
All right. See ya, Eliza. See you tomorrow night.
So it was fine. You asked that question.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because when you said that, I was like,
I was like, oh no, because then I remembered and I was like, oh no.
I was worried for a second.
I'm wondering if the name Logan has popped up because maybe one of the kids went by Logan for some weird reason. Or it was possibly, I don't know, a middle name. Because I only asked the specific question was, the child who died, was his name Logan?
And nothing came
And nothing came out. When I asked if the child who died was a boy, that's when it went to purple. So I was like, okay, then yes.
This is kind of awkward recording, so I'm just gonna like hold it. I feel like a weird tourist, which I am, but. He's probably like, what? I know. He just looked at the stuff we were holding. I know. Yeah. It's a nice cell phone you have. See, I'm like getting in. It'd be funny if I like flashed it. Like, can't see me. Can't see my age. He'd be like, interesting that it's vertical. Like, yeah, I just turned 21. Also not yet. Just don't mind the date on there, that's right. Don't mind the date on there, that's they messed up. They messed up.
Not so great ones in there. I just don't get it.
It was supposed to be a 0, but they made it a 4. I don't know how that happened.
Somebody just didn't understand the concept. They were expecting more storytelling on street corners. And it happens. It can't please everybody.
I told her, this week I have all the tables and acting on both sides.
My brother should take this. He loves things like that.
Really?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
There's this like series on Netflix. It's like a documentary series, and it's like It's called Surviving Death. It's so cool because it's like people who have obviously died and then come back to life. Wow, that's crazy. probably.
So are we gonna take an Uber back, or probably? Hopefully we don't get all confused this time. Also, the room has been smelling food.
Oh shit.
Why did we keep it out?
Oh no. I walked down the street. This is how I would get when I go that way.
As long as it's still recording, okay. I had to stop and think because there has been a lot of tragedies down here.
What'd you say?
Not like 10.
They did?
Yeah.
See, they're going up. Oh wow, 12. That was a loud noise. I don't know what I just stepped on. Ew.
Is it wet?
Yes. I think it was like an apple. Ew.
Yeah.
Oh, what did I step on?
You wore tennis shoes. You got stuck on your shoe.
I don't know. I think I stepped on an apple. I don't really know what happened.
Apple?
I don't know.
I don't know. I just heard a
Crab
squish
apple.
because she was talking about the numbers going up, and I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Did we hear any names? See any names?
No.
No. Okay. So people used to live here. These two large buildings were not here. This is Lodge Alley. This is one of the oldest streets we have in Charleston. So when we crossed over that last crosswalk, that was where the Charlestown Wall was. So Charlestown used to be a walled city. So obviously it expanded. We got rid of the wall, but it went all the way down across the street to East Bay Street. So you could see the wall from here, especially because these tall buildings weren't here. They were lower class folks because the smell of low tide would have been coming right through here. You guys are both in coastal states, so you guys know what low tide smells like. It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I don't have to explain that. You guys aren't from, Texas or something. But like, what's low tide? Like, yeah, hang out a little bit. You'll smell it. But they did do an archaeological dig in between these bricks that you guys are walking on, that you're tripping on. They found some of their tools and silverware, little pieces of their clothing, and they were able to verify that they were lower class people. Fires have started down here. There's evidence underneath the bricks that there's burn marks. So, I mean, there's been a lot of stuff that's happened down here. I have the full list of names of every person that's ever lived down here from, I want to say it's like 1790 to 1861. So it's not a long list because there was only like 4 or 5 places down here at a time. I do have a couple of photographs and like wood etchings of what this place used to look like. It's very interesting, totally different feel, but you can almost like pinpoint where the bricks are because of the way the drawings and the paintings are. So literally, these two buildings weren't here. The Masons also used to meet down here. So it was a Masonic lodge before there was any kind of residence. So that's why it's called Lodge Alley. This is where the Masons would come down and they would just meet here, in the middle of the street on a hot summer night in Charleston. So you guys don't know what that's like because you live in Maine. But hot summer nights in Charleston, like in July, the week of 4th of July, it's like 110 down here.
Awful.
Right.
Yeah, it's a good time for me. It's 3 bottles of water for the whole tour. I gotta stay hydrated. And I'm busy that week. Like, it is crazy. But anyway, this is a really cool alley. And again, it's a quiet area because it's a hotel, and every hotel down here has claims of ghosts. They don't give me free rooms to verify. I'm gonna have to start paying for them, but that'll probably be starting next year, just because of the way things are recovering from the COVID piece of the business. So again, it's just been kind of a weird, odd year. So we're gonna walk through the rest of this alley. As we walk through, we're going to be in a neighborhood. At that point, we're just going to be 5 friends walking through with ghost hunting tools, because I'm not allowed to be a tour guide in that area until we get to our Legends and Lore piece. Once we get back on Cumberland Street, feel free to turn your spirit box back up, and we'll kind of go from there. But anything goofy on your end? Nothing?
Nope, I didn't see anything.
And did your EMF meter do anything?
Yeah, it jumped like over there to like 12.4.
So we have the restaurant down there, which is running their hot kitchen and lights and stuff like that. I wouldn't expect it to go to 12, maybe 4 or 5. 12 is pretty high.
Yeah.
I get excited if anything happens down here. I should be completely green. I'm actually getting a little bit, probably from this building. You can see it flickering. That to me is a pattern, so I'm not excited about that. When I do get a spike in certain areas, I'll tell you. Not everything's going to be the Pinckney Mansion site and the Red Barn lot. So those places are highly active with EMF, and that's why I like to start you guys off with craziness. That way you guys can actually see some evidence firsthand. But if you're picture takers, if you stand to the right of this alley as we're walking through St. Philip's, you can center it in between the two old buildings. Makes a gorgeous picture. So again, if you want to whip out those cell phones, you're on vacation, I'll point out some really cool spots. This is where we're going to get into more sightseeing, so kind of places. So it's not going to be any crazy parking lots. Not in the middle of nowhere. And we're going up to St. Philip's too, so keep that in mind. Oh, that was somebody taking a picture? Okay. So we got lightning. Going down the alley this way is a great picture too. So again, if anybody's picture too.
Ooh, Joe, we have some ideas.
True.
My wrist is cramping. Shoot. I don't know what I stepped on. Like, what is that? I don't know.
One time I got a nail stuck in my shoe and it made that sound. So.
Yeah, I've had that happen.
I have no idea what it is.
Does it say picture? Nice. Well, that's also relevant to one of the stories I'll tell over there. So sometimes, like where we're at, because there's so many stories here, I'll let the data dictate which stories I tell. So that actually refers to a picture we're very close to, a very famous picture. Temperature. I feel a little chilly all of a sudden.
61.2.
We went down a few degrees. Which is weird because we should be getting warmer because we're getting further away from the water.
Yeah, I noticed it was a little bit chillier too.
Sand mean anything?
No, because y'all are going to be sitting.
My dad would totally love this stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of take note of this alley. I don't know why there's tours down there. He's not supposed to be down there. But this is going to be the next story that I tell you. I think I'll tell the photograph story first, but this will be an alley. This is the most beautiful place we have in Charleston. Pictures day or night, best place for it. Just giving you ideas.
I have to find like different ways to hold this camera. I don't know what's in it.
Could be a rock stuck in between like the
Maybe.
things. Probably what it is.
It's definitely stuck.
Very popular area of where all the tours like to go, so I'll explain why. Kind of wait for these folks to see it along. It's also the noisiest area because of all the bars. Right, so that's a souvenir. So I like to stop here by the tree, so... Alright, a couple of things here. See, this is where you guys get a break. You guys came to work, and we'll give you a little break. So, photograph. Let's talk about that one. So, everybody likes to go up to that cemetery, at least all the other tours do. because there's a story wrapped around a photograph up there. There's a sign right inside the wrought iron gate to that cemetery that says there's no ghost here but the Holy Ghost. The reason for that is because they don't want people like me up there. 1888, a young lady died. Her name was Sue Howard Hardy. 6 days after her stillborn child. 1987, local photographer is in town. He lives here. He's taking pictures of all of our cemeteries. He captures a full apparition of a woman wearing a shawl with a baby basket next to her. It's 1987. We don't have cell phones and, you know, all the crazy stuff we have, Photoshop. He sends it to Kodak to try to debunk it. They can't debunk it either. So it's a very famous photo in my field of work because nobody can debunk what it actually is. The picture, of course, is cursed, or else I would show it to you. It's all females tonight. Females that hold it start to feel the same things I told you about back at Big John's. Pregnant females that hold it, oh, no, sorry, I didn't mean to point you like you're pregnant, but pregnant females that hold it, they will not have a good pregnancy. I'm not going to be the guy who gets a phone call 9 months because they had a really good time on their vacation and something happened with their baby. So I'm very superstitious in my line of work, as I'm sure you can tell. So if you want to look it up, her name is Sue Howard Hardy. I recommend you don't handle it on your phone. You want to look at it on a computer screen, it's usually fine. So if something, I'm going to have a link in there because of the term we have, a picture, but I'm going to put that heated warning. This is the photo that's cursed, something along those lines. So proceed with caution. The alley we talked about, I know I got a lot of weird stuff. And I tell you all the little weird things that these other tours don't tell you. By the way, that's a tour coming up. You see how large that group is?
Yeah.
We're going to let them pass through, and I guarantee you they're going to go straight to the church. And they're going to stop there, and they're going to tell that same story for like 20 minutes. I don't know how they drag it out for so long, but that's... Oh, he turned. That's interesting. So they overpaid to do nothing. Great. So, did I say that out loud? I don't have any competitors in town. So the beautiful alley that I pointed out earlier, that's the wall to that alley right behind you. Did you guys notice that there's a doorway in the center of that wall?
Yeah.
That's because that place used to be called Dueler's Alley. So guess what happened there? All of our duels. When there was a death, dead guy would be carried through that gate, over this courtyard, over to St. Philip's Cemetery. They would drop the body and go celebrate with a pint. Nobody talks about why that gate is actually there. I call it the death gate. So it's kind of part of the story of what I'm going to tell you what happened down there. So when you guys go down there on your own, because I mentioned how beautiful it is, you'll kind of have a better gist of what it looks like. So there was a doctor that moved down here from Rhode Island. So he was supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. She just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. The attorney handling that money said, "You're not getting married to this doctor. I think he's just after your money. Send him away. He can start his practice elsewhere, and then we'll talk." So the doctor moves into Charleston. As he's coming into town, the coachman that brought him in set him up to be robbed and killed because he was dressed pretty nice, right? So not a very good start. Somebody walking by sees what's happening. His name is Ralph Isaacs. He's a local attorney. He says, "You don't want to stay here. Let me take you to Church Street," another place, which we're on Church Street. So it takes me to 59 Church Street, which is the Thomas Rose house now. But at any rate, the two become friends because he pretty much saved the guy's life. The doctor's practice starts to take off. He's making more money. Amanda's going to be moving down soon. He becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. So of course you can Google the Whistling Doctor and get all the gritty details. They go see plays together, but the doctor has better seats because he makes so much more money than him. So if the two of you, I don't know what your relationship is, but if you made more money than her, you're going to have better seats at the movies. So you talk about the movie on the way home, which is what they used to do. So they're talking about a play. The doctor loves the new actress that's in town. Ralph does not. They start arguing. Then it turns into an insult party on the doctor's fiancée back home in Rhode Island. They obviously get pissed at each other. They go their separate ways. I told you Ralph was from here. He calls up the newspaper friends of his and he says, "I want to put an ad in the paper about what a disgrace the doctor is to the city of Charleston." The doctor sees it. He rebuttals with, "Let's go to Dueler's Alley. We're going to settle this." Obviously somebody's going to die, right? So they come down, they take their 20 paces. The doctor points his gun in the air and shoots. He didn't want to kill his friend. He only has one bullet. Ralph, however, takes his bullet out on the kneecap of the doctor. Yeah, I just killed you. So, so the doctor doesn't die. He doesn't come through the death gate. His friends pick him up. They carry him home, 59 Church Street. It's about a mile from here. He dies 10 days later. As you walk through the alley, you can hear the whistles from the doctor. There's also weird facts about that place, that the bricks that you walk on, just a side note, when you're walking it by yourselves, the bricks get older towards the end on Queen Street end. So those bricks were sun-dried by slave kids. So those kids literally had to turn those bricks every hour. There's fingerprints and one full handprint at the end. Now, the reason why I can't take you down there is because there's a mansion at the end. I pissed off the new neighbor. So I don't know how those other tours are getting away with being down there, because I got a phone call from the tourism office about about this guy that I pissed off. And she's why I had to reroute everything and come up here. So, because I used to go down the alley and then go take you back to East Bay Street, so that way you knew exactly how to get back to the start, where you guys probably parked. By the way, where did you guys park?
We Ubered.
Ubered? And you guys walked? Oh, you Ubered too? Oh, look at me. So, I'll give you the address of where we're going to end, and your Uber can come and get you. Perfect. Because my garage is actually on this street. I was smart. I got tired of walking all the way back to the beginning and fighting for parking. So, at any rate, so those are the 2 stories here. Let's get you guys ramped up for pirates. Do you guys see the gas lamp off in the distance? That's the pirate house. That's where Blackbeard's men would come off their ships, and they would have a few drinks, meet with a few ladies. Then they dug a tunnel from the pirate house 1 block over to Dock Street Theater. So the reason why they did that is because Dock Street Theater used to be, well, it's always been a playhouse of some sort, but it was called Planters Hotel back then. What was it?
Anthony?
Yep. Anything else come up on that thing?
Anthony, render, vapor, most, major, plunge, mouse, Abigail, organized, noise, distinct, picture,
Okay.
adopt.
Nothing. Okay, mostly 80%, right? That's what we're finding. So anyway, but they dug a tunnel over there because, let's face it, pirates can tie really good knots. So they would actually work for a few days at a playhouse, because we had dozens of them at the time. And while they were doing their trading and all of their pirateering here. So, you guys ready to go? I know, she's like, oh, this guy talks way too much.
No.
Let's go talk about some female pirates. You cold? Okay.
I'm from Florida.
This is warm
Yeah,
for
this is
us.
warm for us.
So we're going to actually go across the street. We're going to look at this last building. I'll give you the quick history of this female pirate, and then you guys can start asking whatever questions you want to, because I don't have all the answers on this one. There's a lot of holes, and I've read 5 different books on this particular pirate, and I'm only going to tell you what was common among the 5 books. So there's no misnomers about either one, you know, of how you guys are going to go about this last investigation. So let's go talk about this female pirate. Break it over.
Yep. Wow, he apologized.
Did he?
Yep.
You guys are getting tired because I'm doing all the talking. I'm the guy that took the nap. So, we're going to be looking at the building over here with the crosses on it. Those aren't crosses. Remember I told you guys about the big earthquake we had? That obviously put a big scare into Charleston if we could get hit again. Those are actual earthquake bolts. So they were the first set of earthquake bolts that we put in. The whole gist of an earthquake bolt, you guys know what those are?
No.
Okay, so in the event a building gets quaked from an earthquake, and the earthquake bolts are in, they can just tighten those bolts up, and the turnbuckle will straighten the building right back up again. That's the whole gist behind it. Those are the very first ones that we ever put in Charleston, and that is the oldest government building we have on the East Coast. So we are all East Coasters, so that is the oldest building you're going to see probably in a long time. 1713 is when it was finished. I told you guys about the Charlestown walls. So that Charlestown wall came right up Cumberland Street up here and went about half a block past the powder magazine and cut down towards the battery. So again, the battery's this way, the water's this way. Kind of give you guys a gist. So in the event that this building gets attacked from a cannon ship, it's going to hit those 35-inch thick walls, and if it penetrates and goes all the way through and blows up the gunpowder, there's sand in the roof that'll blow up in the air and drop to put out the flame. Sounds like a really cool idea, but it doesn't work. How do we know that? Because we had another powder magazine near the battery, much closer to the water. The cannonball was much closer, penetrated, the sand went up, and was unable to put out the flames, and the whole building burned to the ground. So, this one obviously has never been attacked, but it has served in 7 different wars. It's a really cool building if you're into history and those old, like, which wars it served in. It's a quick little 30-minute, you know, tour inside for like $5. So if you want to see the oldest building on the East Coast, by all means do so. During the time that this was built is where the story comes. I had to give you the history of the building first. Sorry. 1703 to 1713 was when this building was being worked on. 1708 is when a young lady named Anne Cormack moved here with her father and his mistress, who happened to be her mother, and they all 3 moved here. I know, there's a lot of weird connections, so just stay with me, Mother. So they moved here because, from Ireland, no less, to get away from his scorned wife. So not her mom, he just moved here. So she must have been pretty pissed off. So She sees this being built. Obviously, she becomes a teenager. This building is still familiar to her because she was here during those times. She becomes a teenager. Pirates are coming through town. She falls in love with one of them. His name is James Bonney. Dad doesn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. What does she do? She moves to Jamaica. She gets married to James Bonney. She's now Anne Bonney. She will be for a very long time. So, James was not the pirate she wanted. She wanted the Johnny Depp kick-ass Captain Jack Sparrow, right? This was not this guy. He was a coward. He was a privateer, which means he was basically a spy for the British. So, this guy is not who she wanted. So she falls in love with another pirate. Guy number 2. I'm going to keep tally for you, because there's a lot. Right? This guy's name is John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. So Calico Jack was a new and upcoming pirate. He was more of that Johnny Depp type guy that, you know, was just coming in. And she fell in love with him. He had a ship. She wanted to be part of it. But let's face it, females curse pirate ships. So, what's that?
She got toxic a minute ago, so I said she's toxic.
Right? So, look at the size of this group. But at any rate, so he says you could be part of the crew, but you have to dress like a guy. She's like, okay, I'm in. He's like, you can be a female in my quarters, but you got to be a guy to be part of the crew. We don't want the guys knowing that you're a female. So she says, okay, but her being a female in his quarters, she eventually gets pregnant. Of course she does. So he drops her off from Cuba to go have the baby and have one of the men showing pregnancy, right? That would kind of give everything away. So he drops her off with friends. He says, come back to the ship, and we'll figure it out from there. She goes back to the ship, no baby. We have no idea what happened to that child. Dressed as a female. She no longer gives a damn about hiding her gender anymore. She's been doing it a long time in her life because her father used to hide her when they lived in Ireland from his wife. So, obviously this pisses off Jack. We're going to call him Jack, not John. Calico Jack is way cooler than John, right? So, pisses him off. So she decides to go down below deck and start flirting with the pirate crew that he just acquired while she was gone, obviously giving birth. The guy she was flirting with happened to be a female, dressed like a guy, to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack captured. So, say that 5 times fast. I know. We're on guy number 3. Her name was Mary Reed. So we're going to call Mary Reed guy number 3, right? So the 2 become friends, obviously. 2 kick-ass female pirates. They want to be part of the crew. The British fleet starts rolling in, and the other guys are all watching the guys below deck. So they're too drunk to come up and fight. So it's literally Anne Bonney and Mary Reed taking on the entire British fleet. I'm talking multiple ships surrounding them. Obviously the ship gets captured. All the pirates down below deck. They're all tried and hung pretty quickly for piracy. As far as Anne Bonney and Mary Reed, they get tried a week later. But they were dressed as guys. They right up because they didn't want to show the British that they were females aboard. They get in front of the Chief Justice. His name was Nicholas Laws, so if my name shows up, that would be great. He wants to see them separately because they were the only 2 that fought back. So they reveal the gender. He says, I don't care that you're female. I'm still going to try and hang you for piracy. Then they say, we plead our values, which basically means they were claiming that they were pregnant. They said, okay, we'll delay your hanging. No big deal. You're still going to be home. Dad's here in Charleston. He still has all the money from Ireland. He bails out Anne Bonney and brings her back home. From what we know from there, she remarried, guy number 4, had 4 kids, and died at the age of 84. Don't know how we have such specifics when we don't even know where she ended up, whether it was here or Virginia. So, lots of holes in this story. What happened to Mary Reed? She died in a Jamaican jail from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. So use your imagination. This is a place where we're going to stick to try to the side of it because none of us really have cameras. If you want to go to the front, you can to try to get some film of the front yard. You just don't want to interrupt other tours. But most of us are going to be sticking to the side of this building so you guys can check out the earthquake bolts, listen to your spirit boxes. EMF, this is a dead zone. You get anything above 0.2, I'm going to be stoked here. I'm going to be having mine out too to just kind of see what happens. Null meter, or the REM pod, the motion part of it, I do get some activity with that. Has your camera done anything weird over in this location?
I haven't seen anything, but also like I wasn't looking the entire time, so I could have missed something.
So a few weeks ago, that was filming me and the person holding the red spirit box. A white glitch came over that person, and then that spirit box died. Like, I could not turn it back on. We walked up 4 or 5 spots, and it started up again and started recording on its own. It takes 3 buttons to do that. So I get a lot of weird stuff here.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not always specific answers. It's usually technological problems. So we're gonna kind of see what happens. So
I'm at like 1.6 right now.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and it's been that way the whole time.
Okay. Has it fluctuated or just 1.6?
It's been fluctuating, but it hasn't gone like below 1.
Okay. All right, let's go have some fun. Let's see what we can find here. We're gonna spend 5-10 minutes here and see what we can grab, and then we'll call it a night. Let you guys go home and get some sleep.
Yeah,
Myra's like, I'm not ready
going
for a
up.
nap. It's going up?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, like 2.7.
I got nothing. Labor temp, still the same. Yeah, I'd get that rim cut out. If you look outside. But then it's really up to Myra if you guys want to go check out the front real quick, but we'll end it back here again.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to go do that?
Sure.
Okay. Oh my god. That scared me. Do you want to walk in front of me so I can have like... Okay. Jill, just right here.
Try to see if there's like anybody here touch the metal stick.
You can.
If there's anybody here touch the metal stick.
I'm not getting anything. Okay. We can try walking back over to where they are.
Anything crazy up there?
No, we didn't get anything.
Nothing on the REM pod either?
I mean, it went up a little bit, but then it went back down, and now it's down to 0.1.
Okay.
But it's like, it's at its highest, like over there.
You gotta remember, there's electrical lines underneath our sidewalks for the
Yeah.
parking meters. So that may be part of where the EMF was coming from. I just don't see that as far in the parking lot as we
Yeah.
were. The only electrical lines we're gonna have here are gonna be obviously for the lights that we have on that side.
Yeah.
Also tell you that just for shits and giggles, that wall that's over there, there are two sides to that St. Philip Cemetery. So this is obviously another side of it. So if you get close and you get something coming out of it, John Calhoun is buried over there. So that was our 17th vice president. So Calhoun was a pretty big deal for Charleston, and then he was a racist and bigot that they discovered, and they took down his big monument over in Marion Square. I don't know where you guys are staying. Where you, what's that?
What is it called?
Francis something.
Francis Marion?
Yes.
So right across from there, you have Marion Square. It's obviously named after Francis Marion, who was a Revolutionary War hero. But in that square, if you're looking out from your hotel and on the right-hand side where it looked like it's all new fresh grass, there was a giant 50-foot tall monument. It was a pillar, and then John Calhoun stood at the top. We had a lot of riots there. So they ended up taking it down. And then there was a time capsule inside that actually had a lock of his hair, some documents and money from that time period.
Oh, wow.
It was some really cool shit.
Wow.
That's
But
Yeah.
that monument stood there, and it actually was raised at one point. I want to say in the early 1900s, they raised it up even higher. They put a new pillar in, but kept the giant base. I mean, the base was giant. I can't even tell you how big it was. It was probably 40 foot across all the way on each side. It was that big.
Wow.
And then they took it down. They were supposed to put the monument next to his sarcophagus over in the cemetery, but they are going to be moving it to a safer place so it can't get ruined. What did we hear?
97973 and Roxanne Red Light.
The red light would make sense, right?
We said, we asked what year her trial was. What year her trial was. 930. 9797930.
Remember, Eliza Pinckney died in same century. Again, we're only literally half a mile, not even half a mile away from that site.
Okay.
So, but the 9797, I got nothing as far as, because I know the exact date of her trial. And I know that because that's the exact date that I started coming over here, and I got the 300 anniversary for, like, it actually came up 300 here. So, he's got a small group. I like how they misspelled shiny. I don't know a dam, but there may have been a pirate dam she was affiliated with. Who knows? Alright, we'll give you guys a few more minutes, then we'll wrap this up. Cool beans?
You want to try walking over there?
Sure.
Yeah, if you guys want to get close to the wall.
I don't know what he sent me, and I'm scared to read it.
I know.
Huh?
It's like the name.
John Palmer? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
It keeps glitching. It's weird.
That tree over there too is a great picture spot. Like from where I'm standing, the
Oh,
way the
nice.
light hits it, it's gorgeous.
Ooh.
If you're into creepy stuff.
Yeah.
The temperature dropped.
Really?
A lot of people, there's a misnomer that she actually did have a sexual relationship with her. So odd couple for 1700s. Makes sense.
Hmm.
I am getting a little EMF over here.
The temperature dropped. Not by much, but it's now 60.
I usually get excited about 5 degrees.
Yeah.
All right, I say we call it, ladies. What do you think? You guys are all
All right.
exhausted.
I just got so much more.
Oh, there's so much more to do. All right, so from here, you guys, this is the address is for your Ubers is 79 Cumberland, or you can just put the Powder Magazine. I don't know how, like I drive Uber Eats when tours are slow. I don't look at the other end.
I think it just tells you.
Actually, let's take. How did I do this? Oh, so we'll take yours first.
Okay.
Because I want to keep your guys' stuff going for an extra minute or two. But nice job. I mean, you guys, that spirit box is not the easiest thing to listen to. So, again, a lot of people hand it back to me going, I heard nothing all night long. Red spirit box. Take that. Nice job recording all night. I actually, when it quit that night that I told you guys about over there, I actually bought one that night and had it overnight shipped because I was afraid that it was going to be glitching all the way. I haven't had a problem with it since.
Wow.
So, pretty cool stuff on my end, and I have an extra spirit box. And there's 2 ways you can use those. They make a like a case for it called a Faraday wallet, and what it does is it blocks out all of those chatterbox from the radio. So that way it's just white noise sweeping through all the different stations. So my next investigation, I'll be using both of them, one with just white noise and one with the radio chatter. So that way I can kind of look at both. Enough. So let's take.
There's like an Uber right there.
Take your camera. One video?
Yeah.
Are you lying?
No.
She's not a jerk, everybody.